Welcome to our proposal submittal how-to video for the ACA New England Camp Conference. I am Jessica Paquette. I am the executive director at West End House Camp in southern Maine. This will be my third year on the conference committee. I have never submitted a proposal, but I've read many of them, so I am looking forward to helping you learn how to and reading many more.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ajay Henry. I am the staff director at Maine Teen Camp. This is my first year on the ACA New England Camp Conference Committee, and I have been a speaker before and submitted a proposal recently last year. I'm looking forward to also helping you get through submitting a proposal and know what needs to be done.
Excellent. We're going to share our screen and walk you through right from the beginning the basics of how to submit a proposal. So you can go to Google if you don't have the ACA New England website bookmarked. You can type in ACA New England and it'll pop right up. You can click right here on New England Camp Conference and you will get to the conference page, which has all the information about the conference. Reminder, it's March 26th to 28th. If you scroll to the bottom of this conference homepage, it says submit your proposal here. So once you click on that, you get to the proposal jot form. Here on the jot form, again, March 26th through 28th in Manchester, New Hampshire. That is when the conference is happening. So please make sure you're available on those dates to do your actual session. This proposal deadline, as you can see right up here on the top, is due by Wednesday, October 15th. That is a hard deadline. There's a lot of people on the committee that have to read all of these proposals. So you must submit them by October 15th. There's a lot of information on this first page, but the most important ones are knowing when the conference is, when the deadline is. We do have some hot topics that the conference committee has been talking about that are really popular in camp right now. So if you're not 100% sure what you want to talk about, but you know that you would be interested in submitting a proposal, you can click right here and hear some of the hot topics. Your target audience we talk about what the target audience is. You know, it's just people in camp, people just like you, me, AJ. So don't worry about that. We're all camp people. The categories that we'd like to have a diversified categories of what people are talking about. The type of breakout sessions that we offer, there's educational sessions that are 75 minutes or 45 minutes. We do have some roundtable discussion-based learning. Those are usually about 45 minutes. And then we do have affinity and special interest group gatherings, so you could submit proposals for any of those. And as we go down, you're more than welcome to read all of this information. We suggest that you do. Reminder again, these proposals are due by October 15th. That is a hard deadline. So not so much time, but please make sure that they're in by October 15th. Also, great idea, grab a buddy and do these together so that you have someone else doing this with you. So we're going to go down here to this speaker information, and we actually pre-filled in some of this information for you. So I'm going to jump right on over here to our pre-filled out form.
So the jot form is it's only 4 pages. So you have the first part and it's split into 2 sections. So there's the section that is about you and who you are, and then there is the section that is about what you want to talk about. And this first page is literally about you. So if there is just one speaker, you will only see this first page. Jess and I filled it in. You'll see it says our names at the top, and then we would put our pronouns in there too. And then we've got the list of names, and all of this information is super important for us to know exactly how to contact you, and make sure as a big one that email and that phone number are absolutely correct. Double check those. When we go down to who you are as a person, what type of camp professional you are, we also below that have your headshot, and you want to make sure that you don't spend all of the time just picking a headshot, because the headshot can be changed at a later date. So just get something that is a picture of who you are. The biography, please make sure you don't copy and paste that from your camp website or from your business website. We want to know who you are from your own words. As the conference committee, we are reading through, and this is the one that lets us know exactly who you are and what you're about. So make sure you fill that out from a personalized viewpoint. And then at the bottom there, we have the session type. So you've got your individual speaker, and then you've got your multi-session speaker or moderator of a panel. Now, if you choose multiple speaker, you'll go press next, and that will take you to fill in the similar amount of information that you've just done, but for your other speaker. So this is where you can fill all that information in. Yep, and it's pretty much exactly the same as the other page, but we're actually going to go back. Yeah, and then we're going to go and fill this in like we just have one speaker. So we're going to go to next.
So we're just looking at whether you've presented before, and it is absolutely okay if you've never presented at a conference before. So we're really looking to get some new voices in at the New England Camp Conference. You know, we obviously love our, well-known names, but we also want people from the camp industry that have worked at camps, even just for 1 or 2 years, that maybe have learned something new that they want to share with the rest of the camp community. So if you've never presented before, that's perfectly okay. And if you have presented before, join us at the New England Camp Conference and present for us. So we definitely want to make sure. This section, it's like we're always looking to diversify our camp conference speakers. Anything you think that you want to add there, however this question kind of feels for you, put in any information there, or you can just skip right over it. The honorarium request amount, most people are donating their time to the New England Camp Conference. We're a small conference. We're mostly volunteers that are doing this. The conference committee is all volunteers. Everyone putting this on is volunteering. So usually it's just a volunteer. If there is some dire need, you truly can't afford to travel to the conference, or you really need some help, you can put an amount in there, and Kerry from AC New England will contact you to talk through that amount. But we're really hoping that people will volunteer their time to speak at the conference. So the next is we're jumping over. So we've just finished kind of like the first half of the proposal, which is really about who you are. And now this is the second half, and this is the session proposal. So just want to be very upfront. This can be changed and modified. So as the committee, after October 15th, as the committee reads through proposals, we will make phone calls home to people who have submitted to kind of get more clarifying information. If we're excited about something, but we don't quite understand, or we don't think that things are quite catchy enough, or the description we don't quite understand, we'll make phone calls to you to kind of talk it through. So don't freak out about this information. Like we will work with you. The most, there's a couple of really important parts. I think the session title, you want it to be catchy, but you want it to be specific, right? If you've ever attended the conference before, you know that like that session title, you kind of want to like know what you're going to. So it's important that it's catchy, like, oh, this sounds fun, but also like it sounds fun, but what's it about? So you want it to be catchy but specific.
Yeah, I think that when I did my session last year, I wrote a description and then I rewrote it, like Jess said, like, maybe 4 or 5 times, just because it was, when I initially wrote the proposal, I wanted it to be like, this is my big idea, and then I managed to like rein it into exactly what it was about. And yeah, the more information you can provide, the better. Thinking about the as a camp professional, if you were reading the session, what would you want that person to know? Like, how are they going to know that? And then the biggest part is that these proposals are due by October 15th. So you've got to make sure you get those in. And better that you submit it and you get it in and then revise it following submitting. But going on to the next bit. So with the skill level, you are choosing who it applies to, and again that bit can change, so just write down, choose the one that you think is the most appropriate at that moment. The next bit is super important, so the dates that you are available to present for the conference.
Yep. So Thursday afternoon is our keynote session. So if you know that you're not going to be available like Thursday. I think our first session might even be Thursday morning. So if you're not available
Mm,
Thursday morning, there won't be a Thursday afternoon session. So then you're not available on Thursdays. That's perfectly fine. Friday, I think there are sessions almost all day. And then Saturday morning is our plenary. So there aren't really sessions Saturday morning. So if you're planning on leaving Saturday morning, then you won't be available to do Saturday afternoon sessions. But there are sessions Saturday afternoon. So just kind of, I do believe there is last year's schedule at a glance on the conference website. So definitely take a look at the schedule at a glance, because the schedule framework is staying the same. So make sure that you're available at certain times and just tell us. It's not going to knock you out of the running for your submission to be accepted. It just allows us to better schedule when all of the sessions are being put into the conference. The next part is the learning outcomes, and this is kind of really important. So when I read submissions, and we get hundreds and hundreds of them, and we have to read them all. So the really important things that I look at are the title, the description, and the learning outcomes. Those three things, I'm like, those are like, I kind of skim through your personal information, to be completely honest, and look at these three things. And then if I really like it, then I'll go back to the personal information and be like, who is this person? Who's going to be giving this information to the rest of the group? But these are the three things I really look at first. And I definitely look at the learning outcomes first, because this is what we want to know. Like, are you going to walk away with something? You don't want to go to a session and not walk away from something, because it's a waste of your time. And especially in March, camp professionals are busy. There's a lot going on. So you want to make sure that people are learning something. And the learning can also be something as broad as like thinking deeper about your philosophy on how you approach camper behavior. So it doesn't have to be super detailed, right? I put our
mm.
learning outcomes for this little session we're doing, and they're pretty detailed, right? Like, you're going to know how to like find where the proposal submission form is, and like you're going to know how to fill it out. Those are pretty detailed learning outcomes. But if you're giving a session on behavior management, like, it may be just, a broader sense of like understanding why a kid may be acting a certain way, right? So just think about what your learning outcomes are. If you want, you may even start with your learning outcomes and then go back to what your proposed session description is, and then your session title. You can do this form backwards, and you can always save it and come back to it later. Session logistics and details. Again, we have, as we said before, 75-minute education sessions, 45-minute educational sessions, 45-minute, right, more discussion-based sessions, those affinity and special interest group gatherings. And then if you can adjust it, if you think you could go for 75 minutes, or if you could go for 45 minutes, you would pick this kind of last one. And that's really helpful for Kerry when she's making that schedule. So you can definitely choose that. And then you would tell us how you plan on doing it. Some are more activity based. Ours right now is very presentation based, right? And as camp professionals, that especially when you're doing staff training, especially when you're trying to like gather your staff, that every style and every presentation style, every type of person is necessary to make camp the best it can be. We want loud people like me that use their hands to talk. We want quiet, more subdued people. We want people who just present. We want people who get people up and moving. We want everything, because everyone's going to come to the conference, and people are more introverted, more extroverted, a little bit of both. People wake up early in the morning. People are more night people, so everyone's going to want a little bit of everything. So whatever fits your personality is really what we want to shine through. So do whatever feels good to you. And then if there's anything else you want to share, and then if for some reason your session is not chosen, make sure that you look at these, because there are other in-person events. There's other online webinars that we do. You can record it and we can put it on ACA New England's webinars that are available. Like, we can do other things with your session if you think that it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, so we have multiple session categories, and our lot of people apply for a leadership category, and we want to just make people aware that we love having people apply for all of these categories. Like, and if you're not sure, make sure you read through each section. So, Jess, if we just scroll down to the where we select them, you'll see that you can read through those categories and then you can only choose one. But remember that you're choosing the one that is the best fit. So you just like pick one of these, and then when we review your application, we will then speak to you. And if we're like, maybe this would fit better in this category, if maybe you've had some time to think about it and you want to move it to a different category, that's also fine. So again, make sure you read through all those descriptions and choose the one that is the best fit. It doesn't have to be the most perfect fit, though. And then if you have a different option that you think it would fit under, please put that in the box that is provided there. And then we go into choosing up to 5 of your target audiences for the session. So as a camp professional, you might be thinking, okay, this is only for residential camps or overnight camps. My session only applies for that. Or you might be thinking that my session only applies for staffing, or it only applies for special populations, or non-profits. You can choose all of those categories, or you can just choose one of them. As in, choosing up to 5 is the limit. But yeah, trying to get as many that fit for your presentation. And then following that, please make sure you read the little bit of writing at the bottom, and then you can press save and submit your proposal. When you press save, it will take you to an option that will say, email this to yourself, and you can see that. And so then this is why it's really important that the email at the start is correct, because then you can send it to yourself here, or you can get a draft link. But you do need to make sure that when you press submit proposal, that you see the submission and you get an email. So if you do not get an email following press submitting proposal, the proposal hasn't been submitted. So it's really important that you make sure that button is pressed and you receive that email. If you don't receive an email, you can reach out to Kerry at ACA New England and she will confirm whether we got the proposal or not. Jess, do we miss anything from that?
I don't think so. So that's how you submit a proposal. Again, please don't be shy. We are always looking for new voices. Be yourself. We need a balance. Make sure that you don't stress. Pick a buddy to do this with you. If you've got a good camp friend, make sure that they, get up in front of the group. And Ajay will have one of these fun colored shirts when he's at the conference. There are plenty of people at the conference there to help you, including at the start of every session. There will be someone from the committee there to kind of help you with any sort of technology needs, to kind of bring you water, make you feel comfortable. So don't feel shy. As I said, we're all just camp people, and we get up in front of kids all the time. So what's the difference getting up in front of camp people? We're all just big kids. So please make sure that you're just willing to share things. We want to work with you after this submission. We will call you and work with you if we've got questions on your submission. We want to hear your voice, and Kerry is always available to talk you through anything even before the submission. Her email is Kerry, Kerry, at acanewengland.org. So if you want to email Kerry, she will be happy to help you. We're super looking forward to seeing everyone at the conference March 26th through 28th. And please remember, the deadline for proposal submissions is October 15th.
October 15th.
October 15th. We look forward to reading your submissions, and please reach out if you need any help. Thank you.
Thank you.